Perfect. So now we will start. And okay, welcome to the key lesson of today. This is the second key lesson of the project Highline Community Manager. And as you imagine, we will explore a new thematics that were going just in deeper into all these months. So we will foster entrepreneurial ecosystems and regenerative economies in rural and highland areas. We have three excellence, three guests from that we select from all the experts for this key lesson, and they come from three different area of Europe, and they will bring three different point of view about these thematics. After the ice breaking, we are still waiting the people entering, and they will just join the Mentimeter for the keywords. And after we will start with the question. Okay, the roundtable. Thanks. So please fill the Mentimeter you have on the screen in the chat. If you have any question or needs, please write in the chat.
Yes, thank you, Fabio. So as you can see, you can go to the link and just put the code, and in your screen you will see like the question and also the words that you can put. So for the first questions, we have different testimonials and new perspectives. And we will wait for a few more seconds. The more people are here, but they still didn't send the answer, but we will wait for it. Clarity we have. Okay. 10 more seconds and I will change the question. How to farm market fit? And now we will go to the second questions. That is, in what world, what does it take to activate a rural community today? Engagement, open communication, new bottom-up leaders, communication, involvement. I think I already. I think we have more people that said engagement. I see that this one is it's much more bigger than the other ones. Problem solving, And we have a lot of communication for today. I think this will be the biggest one. So we need good communication for activate a rural community. Vision, also vision. Okay, so thank you so much for your opinions. I think this will be very good for us to know to approach these subjects today in the discussions. I will stop sharing the screen.
Okay, we finished correct with the beginning, and or there are another one.
No, this was the icebreaker.
Perfect. So now we can really start I will present our guest. So we have first one, Paolo Licata. This is a tech entrepreneur that is driving open innovation and startup ecosystem. As a managing director of Clover Venture, he fosters a next-gen entrepreneurship and transnational collaboration with a focus on Italy and Europe. The second will be Miguel Carneiro. Miguel Carneiro is it's a mayor. It was a mayor, but is too an entrepreneur and consultant in rural development and social innovation with a background in science business. He leads Crius Consulting and Green Solution Lab, supports EU-funded projects, and teaches entrepreneurship at UTAD. And this for Spain, we have from Romania, so we are crossing all Europe. Oana Ivan. Oana Ivan is an anthropologist, filmmaker, focused on human-nature relation in protected areas. Assistant professor at Babes Bailey, sorry for the pronunciation, university. She creates ethnographic films and consult for institutions like World Bank and National Geographic. And later we will have a key study that we propose. It's a young entrepreneur, and she will illustrate before the beginning of the interaction with the public her ideas about entrepreneurship in Venice. So we have three interesting point of view that we'd like to ask to them and try to understand how the three different point of view are really important for development. But we are speaking about generally our point is regenerative development, regenerative development, and the entrepreneurship. It's one of the thematic, because today, you know, we are the thematics is this one. So I will start with the round one, and I will ask to the speakers to present themselves, who you are and why you arrive, and how where you are now. Please start, Paolo Licata, and I will call.
Okay. Hi, Fabio. Thanks for presenting me. Hi, everybody. Nice to virtual meet you. As you mentioned already, I'm building a new next generation hub that want to promote a bridge between corporate startup and a new talent ecosystem in Italy, also connecting Europe. And why I'm building this, because after my different international experiences as startup founder, I noticed that we talk a lot about Europe, but we are not even able to collaborate in in between a region. And I think that we have to promote new leaders, new generations of entrepreneurship. We have to also support in this accelerate world how to make the right decision, because right now we are running for the more innovative tool or the new trend that the influencer communicate. So it's really important to build this new bridge and also to follow this new generation of values. Thank you.
Thank you, Paolo. So this is the really first point. So I will ask to Miguel Carneiro to present himself and to connect. Please, all the speakers connect each other with the previous speaker.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for the introduction and for the invitation. And trying to connect with Paulo's introduction as well, all along the way, and the difference, the gaps between local communities, more rural communities, more traditional, more not so open in terms of culture, content management, to the big European context in bigger cities and in more metropolitan areas is always a big shock to everyone facing two realities in the same world. And it also happened for me. I haven't had a course so related to international, or in the beginning it was not so related to international processes. I invested my beginning of my education in science, and I was a life science and health researcher for 3 years at Minho University in the north of Portugal. And I figured out that my real interest was in people in the community and the engagement and creating a good and positive impact for the communities where I was a part of. And this was not possible through life science and research. So I changed education processes. I focused on management. I started working more on social projects. I, for some reason, wound up at 25 as a mayor of my village. And from that moment onwards, I was really able to get a more clear notion on the impact I could have with the specific local and international programs and international information and knowledge brought to my community. And from that moment onward, I started creating projects on my own as well. So my consultancy firm, which is based here in Marco, and my second project currently is Green Solutions Lab in Bulgaria. I'm a part of several organizations that I feel that they help making a difference in their communities, like Rural Carneiro, Rural Network for Energy Transition, Smart Villages Network, NGOs that are focused in promoting knowledge and entrepreneurship, and currently with a concern at the top of my head, which is trying to bring in talent, knowledge, and highly prepared people to more rural contexts, because the interesting and relevant opportunities, as I believe, are not only in bigger cities. And I think we can bridge this gap and this notion and create this economic context based on knowledge also from rural areas. And for that reason as well, I'm a teacher at University of Trás-os-Montes and Douro, which is also in the north, but inland of Portugal. So in a nutshell, I would say this is me at the point.
Perfect. Thank you very much. At this point, I will introduce the third guest speaker. That it's a colleague. It's a real important anthropologist. So we will try during this session to mix the point of view of human related sciences, and in particular anthropologists, with the the 2 points of view of rural development. One side from pure entrepreneurship, and the other side a middle point between the public administration and entrepreneurship. So please, Oana, present yourself and start with this reflection from your point of view that it's really, really important. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, and congratulations for this for organizing this series. I think it's you're doing a good job. It's a very needed, necessary job. Right now, I'm in the Danube Delta, where I'm continuing my research on how environmental programs are impacting the local communities, the local fishermen. I know you have rural and mountain communities, but I've been also working in mountain communities. Actually, for the past year, I have been working as a consultant for the Ministry of Environment, Romanian Ministry of Environment. And because the Ministry of Environment needs to implement a huge scale project about introducing new protected areas in the, obviously, countryside. And I was in charge with the communication and engagement with the stakeholders. So for the past year, I have been involved with public consultations with local communities all over Transylvania. That was my area of consultancy. And I got a lot of yelling, I got a lot of anger, and I got a lot of rejection. Not me personally; they don't have a problem with me, Oana, Ivan, but with me, representative of Ministry of Environment and representative of the EU. And one other thing that needs to be talked and noticed here is that the very recent presidential election at the level of obviously entire country divided Romania in two, and almost half, 45 or something like this, almost half of the people voted for a fascist extreme right candidate. And why? Mostly because because he was against the European Union. And a lot of people, a lot of Romanians for the past decades have, I don't know, because lack of proper communication, because of lack of proper opportunities. And in the case of top-down approach with laws and enforcement coming from the EU. EU said you have to do this, EU you have to do that, created a strong adversity against European Union. So what I want to conclude in this brief introduction is that I have been working for more than 10 years in rural communities in Romania, in with different geographies. And most of the people I have talked to, both local communities and their formal representatives, being the mayor, being the local council, so on, are very much against European Union and against protected areas, because they see it as a big impediment, as a big break, as a big obstacle in their rural development. So I think we really need very good, proper communication that has been mentioned here before by the participants. So communication and real communication, talking on their own language, not with standardized, almost AI language. And secondly, real involvement. Thirdly, real problem solving, not top-down approach and imposing. So I don't know. I hope I can contribute and I can help the participants here to have new perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oana. You enter plainly into the thematics that we are working on. So the thematic is breaking the spell, breaking the narrative, not with just arguing to the people that has different narrative, but building a narrative about what we think, and we should offer concrete solution that involve people. People need to be part of a community, of some field that people is the government is listening to them. So this is what I understand from Oana, that said it really better than me, and we try to keep this as background for all the conversation. So now I will ask you to connect with this last words of Oana and start to connect with your experience, because each one of you has some important projects and experience on the relation with territory. So which is your connection with territory, and which are the experience you want to share with us? Paolo Licata.
Okay. So like I think like connecting in different territories is always like a challenge, but I think we have a lot in common about how it's actually going and accelerating the situation between how to manage the communities in rural areas, because I think that Italy and the territories you mentioned are kind of similar in terms of culture. So I agree in terms of we need both in terms of approach, so top down and bottom up kind of connecting, so working from both perspectives. So what we are building now is actually to make the territories working together and activating the not just rural areas but also enterprises and young talents to work together, because every day we talk about innovation, we talk about how to build something new, but actually everyone is scared about what's happening and no one is really understanding what's going on. So what we have been building is an ecosystem which incorporates young talents, which participates to hackathons and how to build entrepreneurial projects with social and environmental impact, and connecting them with companies, corporates, and SMEs, which right now are more scared than they look, because they don't really know what to do like next, and a lot of companies even that are making 100 million revenues are going to fail, which like looks crazy, but like after 60 years of building something like huge intellectual property know-how, they're not going to they're not able to make it valuable in front of other people. And also like the startup world is really inflectioned, because there is the FOMO behind everything. So doing innovation is not like solving solution now, is being part of the process that it's a need to be. And I think these common points is what all the communities need right now. So the understanding of you don't have to be scared. Everyone is in the same situation, from the 1 billion company to the 1,000 euros per month person. Everyone is scared. Everyone is like living this looking to not understanding what's next. So this is what we are doing, and we are focusing on the north. And at the same time, I do manage a community of under 26 years old founders from all over the world. We are more than 1,000 with scale up startups, and we like connect every month, and we do like brainstorm. We are like building policy making ideas for Europe and empowering entrepreneurship, and at the same time we are also working a lot with all the countries. Right now we got like an invitation from Valencia, and last year we were 700 founders in Valencia, and the next year they invited us like as a huge thing, because they want us to be there to talk with the ecosystem. And for example, last year there was the like the disaster in Valencia, and we were like thinking, okay, maybe we shouldn't go, but at the same time we had to go, because we needed to support the local economy, and this like was really appreciated. Like just 2 weeks after the disaster we went there, and more than 50 people helped also the rural area in order to manage the disaster that happened. So yeah, this is what we are doing right now.
Interesting, because you introduced 3 new keywords: no? Innovation, scared, and how one of the way entrepreneurs can help, because a lot of time this was seen as somebody that will extract but not help. And this is 3 keywords really interesting. I will pass through Miguel. Thanks.
Thank you, Fabio. I would organize it in kind of 2 domains, past and present. So to say that in the past, some things that we were doing and we have done that I felt were very positive in the contribution for the regeneration of the dynamics in the community. So first of all was listening, very proactive listening, and doing sessions with different target groups, so youth, elderly, entrepreneurs, NGOs, so we could understand what would be the, all of this, I'm sorry, in the time where I was a mayor, to understand what would be more tackling and pressuring hotspots of action for us to tackle, to address. And basically with that, we started developing several programs for youth, specifically, and volunteering programs focused on getting back our riverbank, which was full of litter from construction debris, plastics, materials, areas, public areas they were not cared for. And we did a lot of volunteering hours, making sure that the municipality keeps the example. So I was there, the team was there, everyone was involved. And the communication was quite clear in the sense that we wanted to make this so we could have, the purpose was clear. We defined from the beginning, we will do a series of volunteering programs so we can get back our riverbanks and have pleasant and usable green areas in the riverbanks. So these volunteering programs worked out very, very well. We had for several years more than 2,000 hours of volunteering each year. And with this dynamic, we also created NGOs, youth NGOs, and international projects with international exchanges and the training courses. So we could give kind of prizes to these participants for their involvement. And in the NGO sector and the elder sector of the community, we developed a series of initiatives that were headed by the creation of the Renewable Energy Community, which was a project that united the municipality, the firefighter association, the social association, and to help all the organizations decrease their cost level and make them more sustainable. And this was coming in from the contributions that all of them were saying that they were very stretched in terms of their costs, and they were very thin on their budgets. And we thought of just, instead of giving them a punctual or annually a support, the municipality still does it. We have to have other layers of contributions and efficiency to their functioning. So the renewable energy community will save around 11,000 euros per year in electricity bills, and also replaced for via renewable energy sources. And in the currently section, so this was more of the past, in the currently section, since and in my activity in the company, from the beginning, it was clear for us that, for everyone, that it's quite hard to be competitive against big four or bigger consultancy companies with a presence worldwide and nationally as well. And this is quite relevant for companies to make decisions on who they want to hire to help them do their investments, to help them renew their businesses, and to help them achieve their goals. And in the beginning, it was a bit more based on me. But when we started to define a strategy to grow up, to grow our team, we defined right from the beginning the priority to create the best work-life balance relationship within the staff as possible. So with this, we took part of a national study in Portugal, which was implemented by 21 companies in the whole country and led by the Portuguese National Unemployment Institute, Hexley University in the UK. So we could test management, the models, tools, and organization methods to ensure that we have productivity, we have production managed, we have relationship between the team, and we have the capacity to still ensure that the company functions correctly. And we implemented the 4-day week in a hybrid model. So everyone has 2 or 3 days of hybrid work, and we work 4 days every other week. So 1 week it's 5 days, and the other week is 4 days. And this is one of our pivot differentiation points in the sector, given the fact that it's hard to compete with higher salaries in the rural area. So we're focusing on this work-life balance matter, trying to bring in new staff or the best students in the economy or social sciences courses within the North region universities, so we can bring them in to Marco. And it's not yet such a big impact. We're a small organization. We have 16 people, including me. But we, from the 16 members of the staff, we have already 2 people that are from other regions of the country that came to the team for the internship. They liked the dynamics. They appreciated the detail on the 4-day week and the support for their own personal and professional projects. And they're quite motivated and dynamic within the team. And actually, they have already created their own professional projects with our company as a business partner as well. So the second and the present part would be try to economically create positive differentiation, so we can bring more talented and skilled people for the rural areas.
Thank you, Miguel. Miguel, I think we have other new keywords, like something that it's to be competitive, no? And quality of life is not always connected to higher rates of
salary.
Exactly. And the other idea is about the putting to the resource of energy has something to move people to invest in their own country and to have their benefit. So, Oana, you as anthropologists, we will ask you the reading of all this interesting and keywords and okay, go on.
Okay. Should I want to thinking of your audience and the aim of this meeting, I was wondering Should I give you insight of my it's still ongoing project with the Ministry of Environment and the results we got in the countryside? Do you think this would be something of interest for the audience?
Oh, the audience is wide. Now we have students, we have people coming from local administration, we have professionals. So we try to keep the wording that could be useful to everybody, because we have students of university students too, and researchers too, but we have young agricultural entrepreneurs that maybe for some thematics are more complex. So it's surely it's really interesting what we are doing, and it's up to you.
Okay, well, okay, yes, I will refer a bit about this. Yes, so as I said, and this is because this project for the Ministry of Environment, this is an EU directive, so it is applied to all over Europe. One of the 2030 directives for biodiversity is to increase the biodiversity at the entire at the level of entire Europe. So they need to have at least 30% more protected areas. So now they are trying to identify new territories that can have this protected area, new, how should I call it, new status. So, okay, so we went for the public consultations. Okay, so the process it's a longer process. First of all, we took the map of Romania and we divided in 3 main regions, and we had consultations in these 3 regions. I was in charge with Transylvania region, which means almost 12 counties. So we contacted all the regional authorities, meaning the president of each local county, and then we see where our geographers, biologists, and our experts have identified potential new protected areas, and we contacted all the mayors that have territories where new potential areas could be implemented. So we ended up just in Transylvania with more than 2,000 mayors being involved, more or less. So first of all, we sent out information about the European Union new directive. We told them about the methodology, and we showed the potential. We sent maps, so it's a huge project, a huge volume of work. We have more than 120 experts involved in this project. So we sent to me as a communicator, we sent the potential maps to each county and to each village, saying that this might turn into a protected area. And we waited for feedback. First, we didn't get any feedback. And then they started to get involved because they heard from each other, mayors calling each other, saying, hey, they're gonna steal our lands again, and they're gonna turn into reservations, which was not correct, but it was something that it's based in former practices with Natura 2000. So Natura 2000 network, it was created huge disturbances in local communities because they implemented these networks and other protected areas, and they didn't have real consultations with the local communities, and it was and still is a big obstacle in rural development. Whenever you want to have a small business or to build a new pension or something like that, something that could work, or be for the cattle farmers, like the people who have cattle, or big agriculture. That meant new forms to fill in. So the people who have been experienced Natura 2000 and other protected areas in the past decade and still are very furious about this. So when they heard, oh, new protected areas, they couldn't even start the conversation because they were already very raged against this as a main obstacle against rural development. So I can say at 95%, my impression is that people in local areas, in local communities and local representatives see environmental protection and new European directives for biodiversity. Although the EU says that the biodiversity it could be an engine for local development to rural or eco-tourism that can bring more money into the community. So, and it is being promoted as such with ecotourism. In fact, people see it and they keep hitting a wall. So I think for the present times and for future times, if we have here students, especially or people working in the field or doing consultancy, it is really important to understand that that local people for decades now in Romania have been stopped to have their project developed, and they see biodiversity as a buzzword that is actually just political correctness that doesn't carry any weight. And it is beneficial for people in the high offices to create new jobs for them and for their projects, whereas the local communities' lives are not being improved at all. So this is a huge fight and tension that is going on now at the level of entire Romania. I don't know how it is in other countries. I haven't studied this, but it would be interesting to see a comparative perspective. So what I would say, and the manager of this project, the one that we're implementing for the Ministry of Environment, she's a geographer, and she has been working in environmental protection programs for more than 15 years in entire Romania. And she knows very, very well these tensions and these problems. So whenever we went to public consultations, from the very beginning, she started with people like it was literally a boiling room when we started. And people were already were ready. They would just wait a spark to start the big fire. Because we were one of the few who would actually talk to them, and we would be the interface, like, oh, you are those who are keep enforcing bans and keep saying no, 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 and you are the main reason for our backwardness. We cannot develop properly in our rural areas. So because she and I already knew this problem, we started with saying that, yes, we know that in the past, these protected areas programs have been enforced, and there has not been a real consultancy and not a real collaboration. Now we're doing it differently. They will keep asking us, how can we trust you? You are not a Ministry of Environment, but you're working for them to do their job. They say, yes, we have been hired as a consultants to do their job. And they said, how can we believe you that after we sign and we say, yes, we agree with these areas, you're not going to turn around and the Ministry of Environment is going to throw out on the window, the consultancy process like they did in the past, and they're just going to enforce without any regard to our wishes. And unfortunately, we said we have no guarantees for that, because we're not signing anything. We are not we are not Ministry of Environment. We cannot speak for them, but we can only try to improve this collaboration and to build a bit of trust. So for the aim of this meeting, I would say that is really, really important to understand that in Romania and probably in other countries, there is a huge tension between local communities and upper levels of administration, like not local, but central government and EU. And it is a huge adversity against these upper bodies of government. And there is a lack of endemic trust between for them. So I think it is really it's important to understand that we cannot collaborate when one side is lacking almost completely trust in the other side. So first, because people talk here about they typed collaboration and communication, and it's obviously really important. But we need to go in more detail and see what is actually the thing in the field, and actually address those questions and those realities that have been really bothering and really upsetting people for more than a decade now. So when we talk about
Oana, we stop
collaboration,
you
yes,
just a moment, because there are some questions, because you
yes,
enter plainly in the problem. So we, the anthropologists, are always in the middle when somebody call us in the middle, because we have to talk with people, speak with people, and we have to but we have as committers of our work the organization and the goal. So Paolo Licata.
Yeah, so interesting point of view. I will also try to connect, even if it's distance, the question that we received at the beginning about product market fit. I mean, like when I talk about product market fit, I don't just talk about like a go-to-market thing. I think also finding this kind of solution can be a product market fit in a way. And I really think there isn't a solution top down nowadays. And I think the problem you mentioned on now is from all over the world, because like local areas are scared about capitalism. So whenever there is a buzzword like biodiversity, what you said is true, because like only who has money and skills know how to make biodiversity money or capital or something, because like the local people don't know how to, like, they don't understand the competitive advantage behind their local products. Like they don't know like what is the product market fit in terms of pricing, how to communicate it, how to sell it. And I don't think there can be a collaboration top down right now. But what because I mean like Europe is trying to make it, but I think we should select and empower new leaders who come from the same local areas that they can trust, because they are too disconnected right now with everyone outside. And even if you go there and help and try to help and support, and you say, I'm here to give you, I don't know, whatever, money, education, consultancy, they see it as like something that they really don't want, because they're scared about what bring them being there, even if they maybe are happy or whatever. This is another story. So I think I mean like I think that the influencer team is really important, because like nowadays the new leaders are influencers. I mean like there are people that have, I don't know, 100,000 followers on whatever social media, and they can influence 100,000 people, and this is crazy, right? But like I think we should use this change of leadership as our like critical factor of success. And I think if we are able to select this local ambassador and educate them in creating something in the rural area, this would be successful. I know it's hard, but I don't really think that going and support local areas is the right solution. Of course, it has to be done because it's a bridge, and like maybe time to time something will change. But at the same time, it's not like they won't listen to us, because for example, Fabio, in Anova Bruna, the first 2 years, which is an event in north of Friuli, a startup bootcamp where like the 200 people from United Nations, investors, entrepreneurs, every year go to this little city of 200 people, and we're organizing events and also like empower the local economy, and they were really disappointed. After 3 years, they started like doing voluntary with the startup bootcamp and the event. But at the beginning, there was also fight between the mayor and the event itself. So yeah, just bringing this point of view as a potential product market fit, which I think it doesn't have an answer, because like product market fit change every 6 months, and we need to really be able to iterate, listen, and try new solutions and test in order to have always a market fit.
Okay, and now we are just now moving from two different languages, and this is another problem. We have languages of entrepreneurs and language of anthropologists, and they are more similar. Since I start to go in deep, I see that they are more similar than we thought. Me as anthropology 5 years ago, I thought. But this is another point. The point is social and cultural impact and how we can work on this. And what I heard from Ivana talk, what words was people is scared. And when somebody is scared, they move towards cult, towards not the rational, but towards somebody that said, okay, I will solve everything. No, we have example everywhere. And so we have this growing polarization, as you said, about environmental protection and local development, people, how local people live. No, I am working in environmental anthropology in Italy and Tuscany, and it's the same exact problem. Area in the protection of the Natura 2000 nature, they have very different point of view. So I'd like to hear the voice of Miguel, sorry, my brain is Miguel, about this.
On the topic of I cannot give you such a thin, very detailed input on the topic of the impact of Natura 2000, so specifically the protection areas. I have the case of that in our region we have done recently through the action of it's a community-based action. It was the action of the municipalities and the local action groups. We created the protected landscape of the Abu Buraira mountains, which is a group of mountains within our municipalities that are not so impactful as the biggest ecosystems that you know. But because of it, they've been always lagging and being put behind as such a kind of a non-interesting ecosystem for the community, which in fact is it's false in the sense that the mountains ecosystem has been for ages a basic ecosystem for all the rural communities within the region, for their livestock, for their plants, for different local products that they create. But in the modern society, that had very little place, and it was not relevant at all. And for the last 30 or 40 years, what we've been seeing is an abandonment of this landscape. Before we had a protected area because of economic reasons, so it's not so relevant in terms of their day-to-day activity in the community. And we've been seeing it's still to this day. I think the last 2 years have been more positive, or the last 4 years. But still to this day, we've been having a common and continuous problem of wildfires, and this was very connected to the abandonment of these regions and of these territories. And the ecotourism, for instance, one of the municipalities in there went for, I think it was the first a sustainable tourism destination that was certified, at least in Portugal, for sure. In Europe, I'm not sure, but I think it also was the first, which was Baião. But it was an initiative from the municipality to try to create, to support and foster activities connected to the natural resources, and the municipality is doing big efforts on it. But it's a very, very slow pace moving change. The economy was not that. So a huge part of the community nowadays is civil construction workers. They are doing civil construction in bigger cities in other countries, and they're based there. They come in for the weekend or every 2 weeks. And the economy, the communities diminished in terms of population with lots of immigration. And we see this as a possible way out to value the territory. But the starting point from what Oana was saying is very different, in the sense that there might be less people there in Transylvania's region than there were before, but they probably still have economic systems based on this biodiversity and in the richness of the livestock and the agro-food sector. And in here, that basically disappeared from the 80s onward. So this continuous abandonment left the territory and the soil on its own. And now it's up to the leaders of the community to try to get this back. So we're seeing maybe a kind of two parallel movements, which is the local action groups, the associations. We've been having more and more ecological activities with planting trees and doing the river cleanups and doing volunteering, stargazing activities based on the community. So NGOs are organizing it, not the municipalities necessarily. And we've been having on one side this activity and this concern about the dynamics of the territory and of the people. And on the other side, we've been having the public policies to protect the territory, while also buying back land for the public property ownership. So the municipalities, and it was created an association of municipalities to manage the protected landscape, is starting to become the biggest owner of land in there, because it was basically abandoned and there was no usage. The inheritance were not taking over, they were not using, and basically have small groups of villages that you used to have 50, 100 people living there, were basically empty with hollow houses. And the municipalities are trying to buy back all this property and the landscape as well, so they can be sure that they can manage the territory according to the interests of the public and the common area, because it's not very I don't think it's quite fair for you. And we have this problem as well, not in our region, for instance, in the mountains around the Porto city, which basically in Portugal we have a huge industry of paper, and they plant a lot of eucalyptus, and the mountains are becoming all the same, or they are all the same. And it's not fair to ask for people not to put eucalyptus there, because eucalyptus is what is paying them any rent or any revenue, because the paper companies are paying for eucalyptus cuts every 10 years. So it's quite redundant and nonsensical to ask for people not to have this kind of plants and forests when it's the only possibility that they have for income. So what's happening, and it's in Portugal, it's not still not a standardized case, but we're witnessing in these two particular areas in the North region that were not Natura 2000, so they were kind of below the hotspots of biodiversity. They were not seen as hotspots of biodiversity, but they were looked upon as the forest behind the house. We're seeing the public trying to buy back the land so they can plant different species of trees and different promote different species of biodiversity. And we just had the news recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that we have beavers again in Portugal. I think it was a huge landmark for everyone because they have disappeared for decades now. And in all of this, we're seeing maybe the biggest difference from this case to Oana's case is that we're starting from a way worse starting point, in the sense that the territory was abandoned, economically was not relevant and not used, and the landscape was basically peopleless. And in that sense, what I would like to say as a summary is that it's not feasible and it's not fair to ask people to comply with your biodiversity policies if it's not possible for them to have a revenue and have any kind of income from the rules that the society is dictating on their own properties. So either you buy them, you create a common strategy for economic resilience and economic dynamics. Otherwise, it will happen two things. People will rise up against it and they will vote for the populist candidate. And two, people will abandon as well the territories. So I think it's quite important to look at it in a very detailed manner. Let me just say, I'm sorry for taking too much time, but just a quick note on all those input and questions. The topic here of the local ambassadors, when I was at the municipality, we did a similar thing to this, and it's a small rural municipality of 3,500 inhabitants, but it had several scattered places through the region. And for that, we kind of nominated not an ambassador, but a spokesperson from that place. And each community had kind of a spokesperson that would be consulted by the municipality, by the village municipality, every 6 months on priorities and on topics. And actually, I used to call them, you're the mayor of this place, and you're the mayor of this place. I'm only managing the set of mayors. And this was very, very impactful for us. We noticed a huge engagement in the community through this. This had this positive effect, but there was a negative. There was a big liability, which is neighborhoods. Neighborhoods are based on real people that have disgruntlements over families, over nonsensical topics. So they might be very interesting on getting a direct wire and a tap small communities inputs, but it might also create some tension. So you have to be present and be very continuous in the support and the listening and reading the room around the contact person of that.
Thank you, Miguel, because you start to, because we crossed the 11 and we start to go into the solution section. So you started with one of the solution you organize and the problem will emerge. And this is why anthropologist matters or anthropology matters. So this is our work to try to understand how we can help in improve the solution that sometimes have interesting but some problems. I'd like just a question, because when I was listening to you, I was thinking in Italy we have the €1 houses. The municipalities are selling houses, are selling everything, and commodity, and okay, to public service they are selling, because the idea is this. So how did you finance the buying of the abandoned land, Miguel?
Um, in the case of this projects of buying back, they're basically each municipality is allocating a small portion of its budget to buy this land. So I think the number is not the same, but around 250,000 euros per year is poured in this municipalities association for the purpose of buying back land within the mountains. And we're talking about very, very small amount. We're talking about 25, 35, 50 cents per square meter. So the hectare is cheap, but it's based on public budgets.
Okay, thanks. I will pass through directly to Oana. There are a lot of things that I think she has to say.
In Romania, yes, after the fall of communism, so I'm giving you a big a big context to understand what's going on, because usually when we talk about local communities, I don't know what is your imagination, but a lot of people from Romania has a common I don't know, imaginative narrative, thinking that people in the countryside is one big homogeneous community, and they are still farming the land in the old ways. And but the things have been quite different for the past few decades. So first of all, during communism, the ways of exploiting the resources, the land, agricultural land, and farming has been dramatically shaped, because they made these huge farms. And then with the collapse of communism, it was the collapse of these huge farms. And in the 90s, people started to, they continued. They have been doing so far, but they went back to subsistence agriculture, like having a cow or two and farming a hectare, maximum 2 hectares, but 1 hectare of land for their daily consumption. But starting with the 2000, and especially with 2007, when Romania became part of the EU, people in the countryside especially started to heavily migrate west. So a lot of people that you see working in a hospital industry, like in health industry, or cleaning or building in Italy, France, Germany, Spain, and all that, are basically people coming from Romanian countryside who are not, so we have this huge depopulation phenomenon, and who we still have left in the Romanian rural areas are either their parents, like elderlies in their 70s, even 80s, who are still farming the land because of the mentality, because of the values, okay? So they were born and raised with the value of keep farming the land, otherwise it's a huge sin not to farm the land, so they can't stop doing that. Or the children of the parents who went abroad. And so they are now either small or in high school, but they are really not interested in farming and continuing this way of using the land. And among these people, we still have you still have plenty of cases of people who have small agricultural businesses, meaning 10, 20 cows, and I would say 10 hectares of land. So in Romania right now, without giving you percentage and without giving you definite data, I would say that in my opinion, we have three types of people working the land. The elders who are doing this for subsistence, the elders and the people in their 50s and 60s doing this for subsistence. We have small scale or medium scale farmers, cattle raisers, which, as I told you, 20 cows, small farms. And they're relying heavily on European funds for to support with the price of the gas and so on and so forth. And we have huge farms, like 100 hectares or even more. And these are probably owned by corporations, mostly foreign corporations. So when we talk about agriculture in Romania, we like people still thinking of rural development and people like farming their land, their small plots, and having jams or or I don't know, like other goodies for the tourist or for eco market. This is a very, very small percentage. And when I see people or projects proposing ecotourism where local population would benefit because they would cook a meal, for tourists, or they would have the chance to sell honey, eco honey, or eco jams like strawberry jams, or I don't know, berry jams. It's almost like an irony, because how much these people have children to support in school. They have a lot of bills to pay. Now the electricity bills is going very high in Romania, and you definitely cannot pay this with selling some kilos of cheese, some jars of jams, and selling now and then, like on a weekend, 2 portions of soup and 1 home cooked meal. So when we talk about rural development, and when we talk about agricultural and how local people benefit, we really need to understand the demography of the people. And when we address and we propose projects, we really need to look at numbers, and we look at the local context and who actually is still living here and who still can make a living here. Or, otherwise it's just reinforcing all stereotype about an old grandmother. Oh, she can sell some donuts to some tourists, and she's gonna, make a good living. So
Perfect.
I don't know if this answered your question.
This is no, everybody we knows that said that tourism is not a solution. Maybe it's a problem, and this will start to introduce the next thematics. But now I will ask two things to you to switch your mind. Now we put all the problems and the difficulties we have on the field. So which are the solution that we can bring, each one of us, starting from your experience, which are the solution that you propose for all these common problems? No, we are speaking about the tourism. There was an idea about competency. So let's start about, I call competency groups. It's a methodology specific from Susan Watmore, developed in Northern Europe, in England, and how to start to teach to local how they can interact with scientists, with and no, it's not the teach is not the word. How interact with the people and listening to them and trying to let them be more knowledgeable. And that okay, it's not a word, but I like these phrases I will say now. It's innovation. Innovation does not mean something new or newest. It means usefulness. No, this is the key of retro innovation. That's one of our works. So the innovation is something that should be useful to the people that live there. So I just send this question: how entrepreneurs can help in this, to Paolo Licata.
I mean, like, of course, there is no, there isn't a solution direct yet, because otherwise we would have already kind of solved these huge challenges. But I can try to share some of the frameworks we use with companies, and maybe apply this solution, and then listen to the feedback of Miguel and Oana if if it makes sense. Of course, because like culture is different, demography is different. As Onash like mentioned, there isn't a real solution for everybody, but I think there is a common way to think of the people in specific situations. So what we realized in terms of doing innovation with companies is that sometimes they are not ready, and we like diversificated the process of innovation in 3 different steps. The first is activation, which lasts in 8 to 12 months. The second is open innovation, which is understanding. So what's going on like in the world, and understanding from the other solutions, in order to then empower the closed innovation, so the building. So the activation is that we combine local ecosystems to work together and understand like pain point and challenges. So for example, in the activation process, we do hackathons. We we connect young people of the territory. We support them in like educating them in entrepreneurship, how to build things, and then we make them work with companies or local territories in order to find challenges, and not just to find solution, because like hackathons don't find solution. Hackathons show up the way people think about solution. So it's about understanding how people got from problem to solution, and that is the way of like the meaning of activation. Then after this kind of let's say activation process, you can start thinking, okay, now I'm ready to learn. Let's do open innovation, which means let's see what is happening around the world. So let's bring people here and like share with us what are the solutions or alternatives to the problem we are living. And this is a process where you learn how to, I mean, like listening just to a person that make a social impact or ecotourism solution. You understand how they are like making it, not maybe in Romania or in Italy or in Portugal or Spain, but maybe in US or whatever, and start thinking, okay, may I do the same thing here? Or how should I do the same thing in here? Would this product work? Would this business model work? Would this way of communication work? Yes or not? And after all of this understanding, you start also learning actually hard skills, not just soft skills. Because like way of thinking, it's methods, and methods, it's hard skill. And then after, like, you can understand if it like the logic of make or buy. So is it better to work with other people and like adopting other solutions, or is it better to build a local solution in here? So this is the way like people in 2 to 3 years will start uh, having their own solution, which does not like have the meaning of we build something new, but we adopt this solution because we understand that this is the solution we need. Because like we always think, okay, we need to educate these people, but there is always the first step between education, which is, do they want to be educated? So they have to be like they have to be willing to do the education process. Otherwise it will be stressed, like it just will be stress for them. So I think we have to understand always behind the solution.
Perfect, Paolo. It's exactly. A lot of time we think that education will solve all the problem, but we know now that will not. Okay, so Miguel.
maybe I can offer some very practical examples of what we try to do. That still is not necessarily the solution. We hope we contributed to problem solving, but still the problem is the more structured way it's there as well. So first of all, I would say that a big part of the solution or it has to be the people or in the territory that feel the problem. So if you don't have their participation and their inputs and their engagement, it's like this, as Paul was saying, that do they want to solve it? Are they interested in solving it? Do they feel or do they understand that it's a problem? And sometimes the distance here, it might be as relevant as people might feel they don't have a problem, but there is a problem on their way, and we need to help them figure out that there's something that they should be aware of, although they are not considering it at the moment. So first of all, I would say that engagement is the cornerstone of building a movement and building critical thinking and critical mass, so people can start sharing problems and start having suggestions and discussions on the possible solutions. Then they can use this kind of framework like Paolo was saying. The methodology here for me is I'm a very practical person, so usually the methodology is a secondary part of the thing, but actually I know it's as relevant as the procedure, the process as well. But I'm always focusing on trying to comment on the results and on the impacts of the actions. And in this case, or concerning the topic at hand, I think that first we need to have the community engaged and involved, as Oana was saying from the beginning. If they don't feel that Natura 2000 or any UN orientation or guideline is a solution to their problem, or if it doesn't help, if it doesn't contribute to their well-being, because at a more conceptual approach, it's a very interesting set of guidelines, especially for those who live in the cities, because those who live in the cities have the comfort of having someone else somewhere else doing the work on biodiversity to ensure that they still have minimal environmental impacts on their comfort lifestyle of having a 15-minute city. The world, it's not possible to have the whole world in a 15-minute model, I think. So we have to make choices in this case. So first of all, community, you have to be aligned in the solution, not the solution. The problem has to be identified, and people have to be willing to do some action around it. And after that, you need to have leadership and have people open to doing the effort and to showing the way and to opening the way towards a solution, because sometimes solutions or problems might be easier to comment. Identify solutions might be difficult, might be way more stressful to get to the solution, because we might be discussing 1, 2, 3, or 4 different possibilities of solution, and in the end they might not work, and we still need to be resilient and to keep on working for a fifth or sixth solution until we get to the solution itself. So the leadership here is, I think, the key component to make the community the basis that there is there, gain traction and movement towards a solution. And this very narrow, difficult path, it will always be it will have various low points. But if you're able to find not a leader, the leadership, community of people, or a set of people, a set of organizations that are setting out the example, I think with the correct methodology, you will get to the solution. And in the end, there's one thing that I think it's, I feel, and this is, I don't know if this is but it is a very personal perspective, but I don't know if it's transversal, if you feel it somewhere else. There's a matter for me of, from the starting point of the problem of the community, open to solving it, and being able to do all this way until the solution, and making sure this is sustainable and continuous through time. For me, I think this third, I feel like this is lacking more and more every time. I don't think, I'm not sure if I'm starting to sound like an old man talking about these things like, people have to be coherent, they don't have principles, blah, blah. But I think the idea of being coherent with what you defend and what you do has to be very coherent and aligned, because it's not possible to keep on defending these local communities and entrepreneurship if you're not able to buy something that is not, I don't know, such a designer made sweater or something that is so sexy internationally. I don't know. Um, uh, but it helps only an economic group in India or in the US. So we have to be open to making personal choices that allow the community around us to thrive as well. So it means buying some things locally. It means not buying other things. It means not having other things. It means not seeing the whole world. Okay, you can see the world, but you have to make choices on the places you will see, because it's not fair to ask for the whole world to keep your biodiversity, to keep your natural resources, and keep your interests for the whole humanity, while you're just doing €4 contribution to CO2 offset of airlines, for instance. It's not possible. So community, leadership, and then coherence.
That's perfect. Thank you, Miguel. Miguel, now I pass the floor to Oana, and after Oana, we will make a change of path, and there will be Isabella Mavella that will speak about her entrepreneurship. She is now is in Ischia. So between one meeting and the other, she will share with us her experience. So Oana, please close this round from our wonderful point of view.
I totally agree with what Miguel and Paolo said. I just want to emphasize 2 points. When we talk about community, we need to make sure that we understand that community, as I said before, is not something homogeneous. So within the same community, you can have different interests, different visions. So in order to do so, the past projects that I've been working on, when I was trying to get a community opinion on something, I broke the community down to a few main groups, to a few stakeholders, so to speak. So I said local authority. So depending on the region, usually depending on the region, but usually we'd have as I said, the mayor and the representatives of the local authority, municipality. Then we'd have the cattle raisers, the agriculturists. We would have the people who would own forest. Then we would have a group of people who we will put like vulnerable groups, like single mothers or women in not a power position, or marginalized groups like Roma groups, Roma people within the local community. So we would have as stakeholders vulnerable people to also have their opinion. And so within, it's just important to, and many times a lot of these groups like stakeholders would overlap, like a cattle raiser would also be a forest owner and an agriculturist. But a lot of times there would be a conflict, an open conflict, and a conflict vision on how we should use the land between a local business owner and the local agriculturist. So we would draw tables on vision with each stakeholder, and we will see where would be the common grounds, what would they have in common, and where would be the conflict, and trying to solve because therefore to have a vision supported more or less by the entire community. So this is important to again to remember that when we talk about local communities, there are different fractions within it. And secondly, is just to, yes, getting people engaged. And most of the times, not all the times, people have been living in areas for hundreds and hundreds of years. They have not been teleported here. They are not new to this. They have been developing coping mechanisms or way of using their natural resources. First and foremost, before we come from our offices or from our, here's the problem, you should do this. Let's see what you have been doing so far, and let's see what is your approach, and how, if it is the approach is not sustainable for some reason, let's see how we can tune in to the new vision or to the new EU directive or something. But start with what you have been already done, and let's tune it. Instead of, here is what we think we should do it, you should do it, and have some consultancy and let's implement this. No, let's see what you've been doing and how we can do this even better. And the whole discussion starts in a different tone. Okay, so this is what is my two inputs.
That's perfect, Oana, because that's the point, that for us, when we were working outside in South America, in other places, it's so easy to say, okay, indigenous people, it's here, and they have different ways. But here we have indigenous too, people that's living here since 3, 4, 5 centuries, and maybe they have some idea about how they want their future. So we anthropologists, we work on narratives. Narratives are our reality. Narratives are the reality, the way we see the world. So we have to build together the new narratives, starting from the actual narratives. Because if we say, okay, you are wrong, I'm right, okay, finish the discussion. So, okay, so now, engagement was the first word, and I think it's the last word of this first start. So now we change the velocity, and I pass the word, the mic to Isabella Mavella, because I'd like to give her Isabella. It's a young change makers who is testing alternative models of entrepreneurship in one of the Europe most emblematic territories, Venice. Because Venice, it's everything we said until now. Isabella, could you share what your principal project and how they support a more regenerative vision of tourism in Venice, and what lesson you think apply to rural territories as well? Thank you, Isabella.
Thank you for granting me the floor. I say hello to everybody. I hope you can hear me well.
Fine.
I am part of the cultural roots of the Council of Europe. The Council of Europe is an international organization, which you might have heard of, and there are more than 46 cultural itineraries. One of the cultural itineraries which is really famous is the Santiago de Compostela. So maybe you heard about it. And basically, I invented when I was working as an intern at the Council of Europe's Cultural Roots in Luxembourg with my master thesis in Venice, the microcultural roots for Venice. So in very brief, it's very simple. They are also called the SMAPS, the sustainable maps, and they are interactive maps to give access both intellectually and physically to cultural heritage in an innovative way. So if you want to test them, I put in the chat one of the links of a free map, and where we had some sponsors. That's why it's for free. And then we have another one which is specifically on Venice, which are currently on sale in the bookshops of the museums. And we we have some major like sales partners or distribution partners, which are also the hotels. So in brief, basically to reply to your answer, my mother is a philosopher. She is focused on interdisciplinarity. So I was very, very much of the school of cultural entrepreneurship, which is a very important theme and has, let's say, underlined my life since I was very small. So I was part of the school of Günther Faltin, who is a professor in Berlin. I'm half Italian and half German. And at the university, there was a specific spin-off, which was for cultural enterprises. So I saw since I was 12 years old, hundreds of like startups which were focused on cultural entrepreneurship. So for me, it's very clear that a company is not only there to maximize profit, but to have positive externalities. And the externalities, as the negative externalities, so smoking causes damage to people and is expenses for the healthcare system, so is a positive externality something which gives something positive, so creates regenerative things. So in the concrete example, the SMAPS are printed on recycled algae paper. So we recycle the algae of the Venetian lagoon. Which is very specific. And also it's culturally sustainable because we help to give visibility and like conceptuality on cultural heritage. So I know I'm going very speedy. It's very concise, but I think you're registering the video, so maybe you can like look at it slowly again. The special keywords here are cultural heritage, cultural entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, and positive externalities. Thank you. I pass back to Fabio.
Wow, thank you, Isabella. You was really, really fast and concise, but you explained everything. So now I will just start the final, because we are less than 90 minutes to the end, but I'd like to activate between you speakers the question. So I think each one of you has a question you want to ask to the other. So please, if there is something, open the mic and say for the speakers, and for the listener, please write into the chat and I will make the questions. Paolo, do you have any question you want to ask to the other speakers?
Yeah, sure. Like, I'm also really curious about challenges in every people, like all the people work. So I would ask to like everyone in terms of the mission they are going into, what's their biggest challenge they faced after they were validating their intuition? Because like I really want to understand like also the process of file and error, and also like the solution, because like if we are here, I think everyone trusts their own intuition and are making them like working or testing in a way. So this is my question to everybody.
Perfect. And you know you will be the question for two, but the last one. So Miguel, please.
So the challenges here. Actually, one of the things that for me was more challenging, maybe for me than for people, when we were engaging in finding different solutions with different community groups, was actually something that Oana was mentioning in her last intervention, that I feel it's very, very relevant when you're looking at the room and when you're reading the room and when you're finding common ways, because the topic here is the multi-level, or the several roles that each people have in the community, in the family, and the different interests that they have among the community. So the community, as Oana was saying, is not homogeneous. And this is a very sensitive topic, because if you push someone or a group of people outside or a part of the direction that we're moving for any particular reason, or just because you overlooked it, it might be like a deal breaker for the whole community to stop. So this is a very relevant detail for me, in the sense of you really have to be able to listen and to consider the different positions of people and different interests of the different people in the group. And uh, I really felt like when I was able to do this and do it politically, you do this in we have the common communication for everyone, for a group, and then you're able to do this person by person, because you know the message will go through via different channels and with different nuances. I think this was for me the detail that allowed me to be way more effective in the change making process. And I learned it in a very specific context with a very detailed topic concerning sewage and a need for a common infrastructure that people didn't want it there. They thought they had the problem solved with the previous reality. And I was there with technical staff and with members of the county, and then I went to talk with different families about it. There were discussions about who had problems in each other's backyards, and this was a huge key lesson. So understanding the fine reading details within the group, so you can get them not all in agreement, but in acceptance of an order of priorities for the, because you're not able to do everything at the same time. So if people accept at least, and if they accept it, they are a part of the group and they are a part of the community, even though it's not their priority. It's their priorities in there, and at level 2 or 3, at some point we'll get there. So the fine reading of the groups, yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Miguel. And now I give the mic to Isabella, because which was your first and principal, how said I missed the word. Sorry, but you understand.
Barrier.
Yes. So can you hear me? Yes. My principal was I wrote my master thesis, so I had many months where I was with a ventilator in the Venetian heat, and I had my chin dripping with the heat waves. Yes, thank you for Paolo for understanding me. So it was very warm, and basically I was like having my head like thrown against the wall, like, why is there no solution? So I did the groundwork and the theoretical work, and then I sort of I bozzato, like I created the draft version of the things, and then I just was like, okay, I have to make it like come into reality. So I called like the region, the ministries, the all the partners, which were let's say I was in a privileged position because I worked in an institution where we did have the contact, so that was already something important. But then nobody would implement it. I remember like I wrote like for free all the project proposals, and I was like, we need to do this, it's so important, and nobody would listen to me. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it by myself. And it was a very long process. I wrote over 100 grant proposals to receive the money for it, like 114 proposals, and I won like 10%. So that was okay. And then like realizing that when you receive the money, you also have to do rendicontazione, and it's really hard and you're just crying. And then I think the best way was just to like follow through, like get it done, and you can trust yourself because there's nothing you cannot do. I'm sure my grandfather, who's Italian and he's not alive anymore, but he always tapped my back like, you can do everything you put in your head. Like if you say you will do it, you can do it. So I think that was clear. But then when you reach the goal, you're like, okay, now we've done it, what next? And then it was, okay, now it has to go on the market, it has to work. How do you offer something sustainable if nobody wants it? When you offer, Fabio, when you offer broccoli and everybody goes and buys ice cream, and you say, no, ma le verdure a foglia larga, il pesce azzurro. And people don't understand, I mean, the dietary part, but then when you're like working with a sustainable product and mass tourism doesn't want to like consume it, so it's very difficult. But I think once you arrive at a point where you can like sustain yourself apart from the grants, then I'm like satisfied with myself. There's the song Se potessi avere 1.000 lire al mese. It's like if I could have 1,000, let's say, euro per month, you would be happy. So if you survive, there's a gross happiness index in Bhutan that says money doesn't make you happy, but you need to cover your basic expenses. So once you're there, and it's not always that we're there, but once we're there, like you get to the point where you're like, okay, I can live from this, I can survive. And then if it makes sense, so your positive externalities, like people come to you and say, I finally found the artisans, like I can like support them, and the artisans can say, we hired somebody new, and they're not going to close their shop. Like it makes me cry. That's this part. And then when people are like, I don't believe in Europe, it's some weird sect in Brussels and the funds never arrived to me, and you're like, no, but I activated this grant for you, and they're like, what, you actually arrived here and you did it. So I think that's very cute as well. That's the moment when I arrive. And when the people just come to me, well, it happens like 5 times per year, roughly 5 to 10 times. And they're like, you're doing something so amazing. And you're just like, oh, yes, now I remember why I'm doing this, why I'm like working so hard. And then, I think these are some non-numerical measures which spark joy in your heart. And you're just like, okay, that's okay now. So I think, Fabio, I hope I answered your question. I'm not sure.
Perfect. Don't worry. My question was open because there was a final word in the question. But so, Oana, I ask the question, which was your biggest challenge? And please give your question to the order. So we will have a very fast round. We have 9 minutes, so we will have time for your answer and another round. And Miguel, please, if you want to ask the question in the chat, we will do a very super fast rounds. Okay, Oana, that's for you, Mick. Which was your first big
I
challenge?
just wanna say a brief thing about Isabella's work that we should really have more people like you, Isabella, with your enthusiasm and will of overcoming. And you remind me of myself. And I don't know if I'm getting older or just the experience is weighing me down. But yes, I recognize this, and I congratulate for what are you doing and for your attitude and go get them spirit. One of the biggest problems, the issue that I encounter in my research and in my engagement is deep lack of trust. So who are you? What are you doing this for? We don't believe in EU, we don't believe in that. And they are engaging with me a lot of times because I'm spending a lot of time with them. And because they eventually say that, oh, you're a nice lady, I'm gonna answer your questions just because you're nice. But I don't think a lot of things will happen because you're not actually making any change. So for me, it's really frustrating to keep having these projects, these results, and not having the trust from the local population, local communities, that is actually helping them somehow. I do believe that is actually helping them, but I don't know. So this is a different discussion. So the lack of trust for me, for this kind of work, for EU organisms and so on. And my question for the others would be, having listened to what we all said, what is your one important idea that you're taking from this conversation for the future and for your project?
Okay, Paolo.
So
You answered to your question before, and which was your main challenge, and the question of Oana.
my biggest challenge is always to accept to fail, and then also like to to keep my ego down. Because like every day I try to apply my intuitions and what I think it's right to the market, to the ecosystems. But then like when I try whatever I think, there is always like everything is wrong. Like my idea is always wrong. So always like accept that I was wrong, and that like start to listening, and making this my like biggest advantage. So this is like my everyday challenge actually, because like when you have a lot of enthusiasm and idea, and of course like you are in a way confident, there is a like small line between confidence and also arrogance, and keeping always that line in the middle in order to actually create impact is my biggest challenge. So yeah.
Perfect. The question of Oana, what is the important idea you are taking from today?
Actually, brainstorming about it, I think that the idea is really to having always a bottom-up approach, and really like listen to people, to stories, to situations, and understanding that there is not a like evergreen truth, but like really understand that everyone has its own vocabulary, its own like story, and we need to discuss creating this contamination roundtable, I think more often, just also in order to remember something that maybe we already know, but sometimes we need to listen it again and again, because like we are full of thinkings, and we forget the important stuffs, or of creating values and making things actually really staying alive. Because right now like what everyone shared is tough situations from like a living perspective, and as the 1000 lire al mese mentioned, we don't really need like everything to be happy and survive, but I think that surviving and creating our own impact is what have to drive us, and not over have to drive, like to lead our the value we want to create.
Sorry, I
Perfect.
don't know how to raise my hand. Maybe I'll just do it like physically. May I say something?
Okay, I was passing the floor to Miguel, and
I'm
after,
sorry.
really fast, please, Miguel, Isabella, and okay, and Oana has to speak to answer to his own question. So please go fast. We have 3 minutes, and I think Anna Maria has to say something before we leave. So go on, Miguel, Isabella, and Oana.
Okay,
What did you
just very
take
quickly.
home? Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of work for us looking at local communities in the upcoming years, because even if it's more rural, more urban, the question or in the matter of local dynamics, I think it's a fight that we all need to be engaged in, because with the global dynamics and the global media tools and the social media, I think lots of local dynamics are disappearing, and I think it will be a fight for the ages, and I'm here and up for it. And just on a quick note, thank you all for the invitation, for sharing the morning with me as well, and for your inputs and perspectives.
Isabella, what you leave home from today? you bring home. Sorry.
I bring home. Oh my God, what is home? Let's talk about philosophy. No, first of all, Paolo, you don't look arrogant. Don't worry. It's just put on a big smile and you'll be safe. You don't. I understand the things you will say, but don't worry. Sometimes we are autocritical, but I don't think so. Maybe instead of taking, I can give a challenge. So there is the Erasmus for young entrepreneurs. Basically, it's a program. You can receive 900 euro per month. So I don't bring home something specific, but I challenge everybody to activate this program in at least 3 organizations around you or with young people. So it's an exchange between small and medium enterprises like artisans, shops, anyone who has a partita IVA, like who has a company, registered company in any place in the European Union. So Portugal, Spain, Italy, Germany, whatever else, please, you are all called to activate 3 specific grants of this type. If you need help, let me know. I'm going to host someone. So if somebody wants to participate, you receive 900 euro. I don't receive anything, so it's for you. I need to talk to you guys next time, and you need to tell me you've done it. So take this home, activate your grant. I'm not going to talk to you until you've done it, just so you know. And let's make the money flow, because the best trust you can build is through achievements and practical results, so like effective results. So when people see that things are happening, then the trust comes by itself. So I give you the link. It's really easy. There is an intermediary organization. They opt for free. Take this home as well from everything else and activate it. So please don't talk about it. Just do it, because you will see the money flow within 3 weeks. So let's not overcomplicate things, but like if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your neighbor, for your B&B, for your local hotel, for your pastry shop, whatever it is. Let's stop like overthinking and let's just use the tools that we have. This one is super simple, and we are a host company. So if you want to be hosted for 900 euro, you receive the money directly. So go ahead and do it. And I will leave you as well with, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. If I would be on, like, not here, I would be so mean. But I was like, okay, let's get moving. And I'm going to show you the view, if I may. So this is it. Let's start moving and let's look for the, because the so beautiful. So let's do it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Isabella. Thank you. So, Oana,
So what
what
do
are
I?
you taking? Yes.
What I'm taking home? What I'm taking home, that people are way more committed to local perspective than a few years ago. And when I started this consultancy and when I finished actually my PhD, local communities and their perspectives in programs was in Romania was something quite marginal. And they were thinking, oh, but why should we do this? So now I'm really happy to see that people from other countries are talking about this extensively, and they are using and they acknowledge fully the role of engagement of local communities. And having another perspective and measure our own arrogance and so on and so forth. So it is quite a refreshing view after years and years. And when I started, the landscape was quite different. So I'm glad to see this change.
Okay, Oana, thank you very much. So I just will close after I will give the floor to Anna Maria, but just to close this month that was a month intense about, we spoke a lot about entrepreneurship and founding and development. This was, we close all the things we do where we will put into the handbook that we are writing. So don't worry, all these recordings are on the website. So please keep in mind the keywords we take together today. And I give the floor to Anna Maria. She will say the last.
Yes, so thank you so much for your presence here. For me, it was a lot to learn. So now, like more administrative things, I sent now the post-evaluation form. It's very important for the certification. So please fill it. It takes like 5 to 7 minutes, and also at the end you have a short test about the thematics with 5 questions. I think they are very approachable and nice. And thank you again, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Bye, everybody.
I cannot hear you, Fabio, but I think you're saying something.
Yes, was closer. So goodbye to everybody. Next meeting will be next Tuesday. And please enter in the community of WhatsApp. Follow us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and you will be up to date to everything. Bye, bye, bye to everybody.